All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your review for Payback, September 2nd, 2023. I thought it was a very lackluster show outside maybe one or two matches, and then the segment with Grayson Waller. Cody Rhodes is his guest, and he brought out Jeyuso, going to be on the Raw roster. Stuff that was good. Judgment Day, street fight. That was probably the best. That was easily the best match of the night against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the tag titles. I thought the cage match was kind of decent between Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus, and then obviously the return of Jey Uso, going on for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then the bad stuff that happened tonight. Really disappointed by LA Knight versus The Miz. Just something just fell off about that match. Don't know what it was. Just wasn't that good of a match. And he had John Cena as a special guest referee. Another surprise from Cena. And Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. Wasn't really a fan of that either. They pretty much were just testing each other's strength and stuff during most of that match. Rey Mysterio, Austin Theory for the U.S. title. That was okay. Nothing really special about that match. And the same thing with Seth Rollins versus Nakamura. That was just an okay match. Most of these matches really just could have been on either Raw or SmackDown. Didn't really have to have them all on a pay-per-view. But I guess you just need somebody to fill in the space, right? Because of the no, not like the big stars are not even on the card. You got Edge. Who knows if he had wrestled his last match for Sheamus a few weeks ago. And we had no Roman Reigns and no Brock Lesnar. So I guess they had to have somebody on the show. All right, let's get to it. First match, we got the steel cage match. Becky Lynch and versus Trish Stratus. This is the last of this feud, hopefully. Uh, Becky Lynch hit 3 exploder suplexes. Trish tossed Becky Lynch into the cage, and she hit a spine buster on Lynch. Becky hit a leg drop, and then she hit a power bomb for a 2 count. And then Trish Stratus used the Widow's Peak as a callback to when she fought Victoria back in the day. She got a near fall with that. Becky Lynch hit a twist of fate for a 2 count, and then Trish hit the Stratisfaction for a near fall. Trish hit a bulldog from the top rope for a 2 count, and then Becky hit a so Trish was like climbing out the cage, and then Becky pretty much held her in, and then she hit a superplex while Trish was like on top of the cage or whatever. And then Zoe Stark, she came out of nowhere. She tried to help Trish win. Becky pulled Trish back in the ring. It was pretty much like a tug of war. Becky Lynch had Trish's legs, and then Zoe Stark was grabbing Trish's arms. And then Becky eventually won the tug of war, and she pulled Trish back into the ring. Zoe attacked Becky, and then Becky hit the rock bottom on Zoe Stark. And then Becky hit the rock bottom on Trish for the win. And then after the match, Trish slapped Zoe Stark, and then Zoe closed the door. Looked like she was gonna leave, but she closed the door. And then she attacks Trish, so her little bond with Trish is over, and Trish is probably gonna take a break now. Just wasn't really a fan of this feud with Trish and Becky. All right, next up we got John Cena. Pretty much said he's never been a host. Like he says, we're gonna make tonight special because I'm gonna be a special guest referee for LA Knight versus The Miz. Miz comes out. He says to Cena, as a host, you suck. And then John Cena says, I got respect for you. And then Miz says, be more involved. You dress like a Teletubby. You're almost 50 years old. And then the Miz is like, you can't even be a ref. You don't even have a ref shirt. And then somebody hands Cena a ref shirt. So he's special guest referee for this match. Um, let's find my notes for this match. All right, so we've got LA Knight versus The Miz with Cena as special guest referee. LA Knight hit a power slam, and then he hit a clothesline off the barricade. John Cena grabbed the Miz because he was stopping when Cena told him to stop for the 4 count, 5 count, whatever. So he just grabbed the Miz and pulled him off of LA Knight. And then Cena grabbed LA Knight, and then LA Knight got in Cena's face. And then the Miz attacked LA Knight while LA Knight and Cena were staring at each other. LA Knight launched Miz into the air and he slammed him down. Not sure what move that was. LA Knight hit a running knee. And then the Miz hit 2 DDTs for a near fall. And then the Miz hit the skull crushing finale for a 2 count. LA Knight hit the BFT for the win. And then after the match, near the entrance ramp, Cena shook LA Knight's hand, pretty much endorsing LA Knight as like the next star, I guess. And Cena was telling him, oh, it's all about respect and stuff. And then Cena walked out. And then, so yeah, I wasn't really a fan of this match. I think Cena felt like Cena maybe took a little bit away from LA Knight because he's such a big star and stuff. Next up, we got Rey Mysterio defend the U.S. title against Austin Theory. Austin Theory tossed Rey's sternum first into the turnbuckle. Then he tried to take off Rey's mask. Rey fought him off by elbowing him. And then he hit a moonsault on Austin Theory. Rey hit Theory with the Hurricane Rana. And then Austin Theory hit a spin-out powerbomb for a 2 count. And then Rey rolled up Austin Theory for a 3 count and the win. So Rey Mysterio retains the U.S. title. This match was kind of pretty much decent match, I guess. All right, we got Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens versus Damian Priest and Finn Balor for the tag titles. Start off the match is pretty much they're all brawling outside. And then Finn Balor pulled a terrible towel, Pittsburgh Steelers towel, out from under the ring, and he chucked it on the ground and he stomped on it. And Sami Zayn hit a suicide dive on both Priest and Balor. And then Sami and KO, they attacked with trash cans. And then inside the ring, I think Kevin Owens put a trash can on Finn Balor's head. And then KO and Sami, they grabbed a couple of kendo sticks and they just started hitting Finn Balor with it. Pretty much target practice. And then KO and Sami, they set up a table outside the ring. Damian Priest threw a bunch of chairs into the ring. And then the match spilled out into the crowd. Out of nowhere, Dominic Mysterio, he shows up. And then while this is going on, Sami Zayn and KO they just grab a couple of Pittsburgh Penguin jerseys. It's Sidney Crosby jersey and Mario Lemieux jersey on. They had hockey sticks and hockey gloves on. And then Sami Zayn hit a blue thunder bomb on Finn Balor on a bunch of chairs. Damian Priest hit a Falcon Arrow on 4 chairs that were set up in the ring. And then they went into the crowd, so they started fighting in the crowd. KO put Dominic Mysterio on a table, and then he climbed up above one of the tunnels where the fans were, and then he hit a swanton bomb on Dominic through the table. This should look brutal. And then back in the ring, Sami Zayn put Balor through the table. KO hit a stunner, and then Sami hit a haluva kick. And then JD McDonough, he shows up. He drags Sami out of the ring. And then KO attacked JD McDonough. And then Rhea Ripley shows up. She put KO through the barricade. She pretty much like ran through KO into the barricade. And then Sami hit a haluva kick on Balor. And then Dominic Mysterio, he somehow miraculously got up after the swanton he took from Kevin Owens. He hit Sami Zayn with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then Finn Balor pinned Sami Zayn, and the Judgment Day are your new undisputed tag team champions. So now Judgment Day has all the gold. So we'll see if everything's cool with the Judgment Day, or if because JD McDonough interfered, if Damian Priest, that's going to drive pretty much divide pretty much dividing them in half, I guess. Which side of the fence you're on with Damian Priest or Finn Balor. But yeah, so Judgment Day's got all the gold, and we'll see. I think Sammy, I don't know who Sammy and Zayn and Kevin Owens, whether they're gonna take a break or if they're gonna feud with somebody else. I for sure thought the Street Profits would take one set of the tag titles from them, but Judgment Day ended up getting both of them. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, next up we got the Grayson Waller effect with Cody Rhodes as his guest. Grayson Waller cut off Cody Rhodes when Cody Rhodes is asking, "Oh, what do you want to talk about?" He didn't let him finish. And then Grayson Waller says, "No one cares what Pittsburgh wants to talk about." And then Grayson Waller says, "I want to talk about your big announcement. Something tonight is huge for you." And then Cody asked, "I asked to be on your show. I want to give you a big scoop. You watch Raw?" He asked him. And Grayson Waller says, "Every Monday." Cody Rhodes says, "Well, what about NXT?" Waller said, "Of course." And then he brought up, says, "SmackDown is intriguing. He says, a wrong needed to be righted. Whatever chips I had, I cashed them in. I hope this is not a decision I regret." The newest member of the Monday Night Raw roster, and he introduces main event jeyuso. And then Cody's pretty much left. He's like in the near the entrance ramp, near the Titantron, and then Jeyuso comes out. Let's get to that photo. Then Grayson Waller says, "You've been gone for 2 weeks, mate. You've been a twin the whole time, surrounded by the bloodline. You've achieved absolutely nothing." And then Jay super kicks Grayson Waller. That was it for that segment. So I guess Cody Rhodes did a favor for Jey Uso. Maybe down the line, thinking Jey Uso could do a favor for Cody Rhodes. Maybe something to do with Roman when Cody fights Roman at WrestleMania, or maybe something else. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. All right, next up we got Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez for the women's title. Raquel hit a follow slam and a suplex. Rhea Ripley hit a running knee for a 2 count. And Ripley hit a chop block. Then Rhea she applied a prism lock submission. Raquel countered into a pin, and then Dominic shows up. So this guy's everywhere, Dominic. And Michael Cole called, "Oh, he's the MVP of the Judgment Day." And then Raquel hit a power slam on Dom. And then Rhea Ripley hit the Riptide for the win. Just didn't really care for this match either. Very terrible build for this match. And then we got a backstage segment with John Cena. He's like a reporter now, so he's a host. He was a host tonight. He was a special ref. Now he's a backstage reporter. He's talking to Finn Balor and Damian Priest. He says there was some dissension in the Judgment Day, and then Priest says the Judgment Day will always rise. We got all the gold. And that's pretty much it for that segment. All right, next up we got the main event for the world title: Seth Rollins versus Nakamura. Seth Rollins hit a suicide dive. Nakamura tossed Seth onto the announce table. Nakamura kneed the back of Seth Rollins' neck. So like they're said throughout the whole match, they were selling the Seth Rollins' back pain. Seth Rollins is selling his back pain, and Michael Cole and Cody Graves are talking about his back pain too throughout the match. Rollins hit a Hurricane Rana, and then he hit a frog splash for a 2 count. Nakamura hits that sliding German suplex where whoever he's facing is like sitting on the middle rope. So it's like a slingshot German suplex. He got a near fall with that. Nakamura applied the armbar, and then he transitioned it into a triangle choke. Seth Rollins lifted him up and slammed him down to get out of it. And then Seth hit the pedigree. Then he hit the curb stomp for the win. That was just an okay, decent main event. This wasn't really a fan of the storyline where they were Nakamura warned him about his back or whatever. But yeah, I'd give this pay-per-view about a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, somewhere around there. Best match easily was the street fight, Steel City street fight with Judgment Day versus KO and Sammy. Worst match, I think I got a tie with Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez and the LA Knight versus The Miz. But yeah, so that was my thoughts on Payback for last night. All right. See ya.